Howdy y'all, it's Aaron here. I hope you are doing well. Ever picked the wrong ad for your clothing store? Well, in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the 3 ad types you should be running for your clothing store. As always, make sure to grab something to take notes with and stick around until the end, where I'll be sharing with you some real results with these campaigns inside of Ads Manager, including a little bit of setup from inside of there. All right, let's get into it. All right, so number 1 is DPA, or dynamic product ads. These are versatile and allow for a great social browsing experience. I consider these to be like browsing a website on social. The best part is that if they like what they see, those potential customers, they will click through with a much higher intent. So they're scrolling through amazing looking products. And so if they do take action, you know that the intent is a little bit higher versus just a single image ad and like, oh, this is good, let me check it out. Somebody who browses through and sees multiple products, their confidence within your brand goes up. There are a few strategies that I will mention when we jump into Ads Manager. So let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, so let's go ahead and check out what this looks like on an actual newsfeed. So on desktop, this is what the product looks like. I'm not gonna scroll up to the brand, but as you can see here, this is just New Arrivals Daily. This is a New Arrivals dynamic product ad. So this is to give you some insight before we jump into Ads Manager. It's going for a broad audience, age, gender, location, and it is a top of the funnel campaign. But what it's saying here is New Arrivals Daily, order yours before they're gone. It's just showcasing some shoes. I think that it's going to show you the same couple of shoes. But what would happen, right, is you choose a catalog that is going to have all of your new arrivals, and then you just continue to update that catalog and it will show the new products, and then it will kind of dynamically update based off of what people are interested in. You've probably interacted or scrolled with them before. So let's go ahead and look inside of Ads Manager as well at what these kind of look like. Let's see here. All right, so one thing here that I want to mention is that this is learning limited. So the last 7 days, what do we need to do? We need to get more transactions here. This was a test budget for us. But also what is interesting is the attribution setting is still that 1 day. So since we do not have enough data, we will likely move this to a 7-day. Now what you can see here is that this is still a very favorable purchase amount for us. I like to be, for the cost per purchase for this particular customer, we like to be around that $40 or less. That's very profitable for us. Now, post IDs, that is a whole nother conversation, right? But we're using a CBO, or campaign budget optimization, which means the budget is distributed between different ad sets, which these ad sets are broad DPA and broad post IDs. So could be going after similar audiences, likely not because of the way that the interaction works. But broad DPA, we've gotten 14 purchases, $46, still within that range where we like to be. We could be doing a little bit better. Let's go ahead and look at this setup here. It's going for website purchases. The size is about 84 to 99 million, just a guesstimate. We're going for purchases, and we have an age, 21 to 55, gender, women, and then location, the United States. Automatic placements recommended. That is what we are doing. We have in the past, and still continue at this point, to use manual placements. And if we do manual placements, we keep everything on except for those apps and those experiences that are not really on something that Facebook owns. So that's where we just kind of differ on where to put something. But other than that, right, 1-day click or view, if we get enough data, that's where we like to be. This one in particular, we will likely make that change at our meeting today and move this to a 7-day. What that means, though, you're probably like, oh, what is a 1-day click after reviewing? It just means that Facebook's trying to find somebody within 1 day to make that purchase, but it also means that if it doesn't happen within that window, you're likely losing the data. We don't care if you use 1 day or 7-day. If you use tools like what we're going to talk about later with Triple Well, then it won't matter as much because you'll look at the data inside of there. But this gives more data back to Facebook, so you could switch it to a 7-day if that is the case. So very simple there. Automatic placements, DPA. Let's go ahead and look at the ad here, and we will have this right here. So the main thing here is that it's a catalog. It will show the products. And then we're showing new arrivals for Facebook. That's kind of the thing that we labeled it, but it's products with the images less than 500 by 500 pixels. Won't be used for Instagram ads, just as a clarification there. We are doing this as single images. I think that does a lot better. It stops the scroll. It allows you to actually scroll versus a slideshow or video at this point. All right, you can edit the card if you'd like. This primary text something very simple. We've had it work before. I'm not really a fan of it, but for whatever reason it does work, so we keep it right now. Sometimes, almost all the time, we guess incorrectly, so we just let Facebook tell us what is actually generating real results. So there's the website, and then make sure that the pixel is turned on, the app events are turned on, and that is it for this DPA. But the main things, right, to walk away from on this DPA are that you should go for top of funnel, you should keep it broad, you could choose 1 day or 7 day depending on what you're actually looking for. And one note that some people may get out of this and some people may not is that we have combined this DPA and let it compete with our post IDs so that it can distribute the budget. Look at it, it's not doing it evenly, but what is actually, like, let's see if it does it. Okay, 105. It's actually the DPA, and this is, again, a little bit inaccurate because, let's see here. If I can go back just a few more days, see if it has anything here. Right, it's just taking a little bit longer to actually, like, show us the real results. So it looks like, okay, this is 4 purchases here, 1 here. Taking this with a grain of salt. Love the $21 purchases, $69, right, for the DPA. Maybe going up. I'm actually going to look inside of Triple One. That's where I would make a decision, not from inside of Ads Manager. But the trick here is that we have the post IDs and the DPA so that they can kind of compete against each other for the best option. So that's one thing to note here. All right, before we cover number 2, I just wanted to say howdy. My name's Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding, and we are an e-commerce growth agency that specializes in helping clothing stores grow and scale profitably online. Now make sure you do yourself a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the latest strategies for clothing stores. We drop new content for you every single week. All right, so number 2 is dynamic creative ads. Let me tell you about these ads because if you have not watched any of other videos, I cannot express enough how powerful this is for the clothing store you are trying to run or trying to scale, but also the store who has a ton of creative that they need to test at once without wasting budget. So it not only lets you spend more money because the ads are active almost right away, but 2, you test multiple creatives without having to create multiple ad sets and wasting a ton of budget in a ton of different places. And it is just super, super effective. This is probably one of my favorite ways to create ads. So dynamic creative takes the best of all of your content and makes the best combination, and so you know which ad will work best for your audience and what is going to ultimately make you more money. There's a lot to dive into with these ads, but before we dive into any further, consider using your finger to dive right over to hit that like button, smash it. YouTube loves it and so do we. Thank you in advance. It really helps us a lot. And just for doing that, I'll show you a picture of a koala eating some food. All right, so let's go ahead and jump. Like literally, can we all just jump in the air for 1 second? All right, boom, we're inside of the Ads Manager. All right, so we are inside of Ads Manager. I'm on the ad set here. Inside of this campaign is a bunch of different ad sets. So we have a CBO spending, I think, $350 per day. And of that $350 per day, it's dividing it between different ad sets based off of what is actually working right now. So for example, right here, we have a copy, a V2. I think these may be like a switch into a 7-day versus 1 day. That's completely fine. But what I'm looking at here is this is a broad dynamic creative going to a new audience, top of the funnel. This is switched to a 7-day. Let's go ahead and look at the ad set level. How is this set up? How are dynamic creative ads set up? You can label it however you'd like. We have a new arrivals V2, so it's just our second version of new arrivals with different new creatives, internal metrics for us. We're going for website purchases. As you can see here, make sure the conversion event is purchased. Now, how do you make a dynamic creative ad? You use your finger to hit this nice little button that says on. There you go. It says dynamic creative, and that's all you do. You turn it on, and it gives you the power to create these types of ads. Very, very cool. Everything else, pretty simple setup. 21 to 55 is our range of age. We're going after women. We are looking at spreading this across the United States. Platforms, we're looking for pretty much everything except what will not fit across, like for example, I think we could do in article. So we should do in article and we should do in stream. I am going to, right, this is real time, real stuff here. I'm actually gonna have a meeting about this in about 30 minutes and we'll talk about this, about expanding. But apps and sites really don't like that one, so that one is unticked for a reason. All right, conversions, we're going for that. They try to hide this attribution setting. This is what they prefer to have. It gives them more data. So 7 days after clicking or 1 day after viewing. So we're saying within 1 day, we want them to make an action. 7 days after clicking, just giving us a larger attribution window to collect more data. To you, it doesn't really matter too much because you're gonna make your decisions off of Triple Whale. We'll talk about them later. If you wanted 1 day, right, if you did the budget for it and you had enough data, then it makes sense for 1 day clicking because you wanna get people who are gonna take action within 1 day. All right, so that's what this, that's really the breakdown. There, you can see show some more options here. Only connected Wi-Fi, no, right? A lot of these things do not matter. Right, the interest targeting does not matter. If you watch any of our videos, broad is the way to go, especially as you scale. You could do some interest targeting, or you could also spend 5 hours inside of Ads Manager every day and just rack your brain against the wall trying to figure out why it doesn't work. So go broad, save some time, save some hair, save some color. All right, so let's go to the ad here. This is the difference. So I don't want you to look at anything else, right? There's 4 of 10 slots open. Right, so that means that there's 10 possibilities of creative inside of here. We used to say fill this up. Now because of less data, it's not gonna be able to push it to everybody. So we try to stay between 4 to 5 images or videos, slideshows, collection style videos. So we have 1 video that's working right here, and then we have several images, 2 images and 1 graphic. What we do before this is we test graphics, we test TikTok style videos, we test images, we test some like collection style videos as well. All of those things inside of here and figure out which one of these works, and then we let them run. There's several other steps after this, so like scale to the next level, but you don't need that until you can get these to work. All right, primary text, we'd like to test 2 primary text, 2 headlines along with these, and what it will do is Facebook will take the combination of this text and this headline and this image and this video and this text and this headline and just like throw it up in the air, throw it into a ball, and for whatever reason, it just makes the perfect combination, and it will tell us which is going to make the most money, and then we run with that particular post ID, or we continue to spend more budget, and Facebook will continue to find the people who are interacting with that ad as you scale. Make sure that it says shop now, make sure that you have your stuff turned on. This is also something here, parameters, we need to make sure that we check into that. That is something to look at. Offline events, app events, website, everything should be ticked in green. Just to make sure that you know you got the right stuff. A different call to action for e-commerce, honestly wouldn't do it. Shop now is gonna be your best bet. I don't want people to learn more, I want them to shop. All right, so that is it for dynamic creative ads. We have a whole bunch of videos on dynamic creative ads and going in depth for that one. Now, the number one question that people have about jumping into Ads Manager is just like this: are these numbers accurate? And the answer is no, they are not accurate, which is why we struggled for a while to get reliable data. Dang you, Tim and Apple. Apple and Tim. You know, Tim Cook, he's that guy. He did it. He didn't like Mark. I think that's what it is, right? It's a little family feud, some billionaire feuds. But luckily we found Triple Whale that has over 99% accurate attribution, meaning that it tells us, right? It's actually just a fancy way for saying we know which ads are actually able to scale or not. So if you want more clarity in your marketing to learn more, check out the link in the description down below. I believe that there's also a discount available for you for checking it out for our link. So we appreciate it. All right, so number 3, these are collection ads. So collection ads, and if you've watched one of our very first videos on clothing stores for advertising, you know what we're talking about a little bit. This is a little bit more updated. This is a little bit more in depth, or a lot more in depth. But this is the ad you take back to mama. She's cute, she works out, eats well, and has a great personality. But in all seriousness, this takes the best of ads and puts them all into one. The only catch is that the collection ads needs a lot of data. But when you can give it that data, they are the best kept secret on the internet. Now, but before we move on to some examples, I wanted to tell you about our free masterclass training for clothing stores that will walk you through the 5 pillars that you must have in place for your online store to scale consistently and profitably no matter what is going on in the world. And to get access to this free training, check out the link in the description down below. All right, let me walk you through some of these examples. All right, so let's go over to Ads Manager here. This is perfect because at least at the time of this recording, we are getting into fall. And you should already be thinking about fall anyway, depending on when you're watching about this video, because just fall, it's a little bit higher average order value because things cost a little bit more in the fall than they do in summer, right? It's heavier. Coats, sweaters, jackets, whatever it may be. But my point is for this type of ad, right? So let's look at this. We have 612 purchases. Average purchase is $21. As you can see here, right, calling out the attribution setting. This is 28-day click, 1-day view. It's an old setting before things kind of switched over, but it's still the best example of the way and power collection videos can work. So the goal here, right, and this with this is how do we take the best piece of content with a DPA and then put it to people on a device that they're likely to scroll through. So you're on your phone, you not only see that the products are available, right? You can scroll through, but even if you wanted to click through, you click through and it's taken to a full experience on the website or on Facebook that is like a website. So when you click through, that intent is extremely high. And when that intent is extremely high, the conversion rate goes up. But also what's interesting is, right, you can use very good images and headlines and text that you've done through dynamic creative testing to figure out that winner and then put it into a collection ad and then scale from there. So it takes literally the best of all three of these. Now that I'm thinking about it, and I thought it was just the two, but now all three of those takes the best of them and puts them into one ad, and then you can scale that. Now, the catch or the caveat here is that you need to have something that will be available or in stock long term. So my tip for you here is to use an image that has multiple people in it or multiple outfits. Use a video that has multiple people or multiple outfits. And then down at the bottom, right, the dynamic ads that are down there, right, that are gonna be dynamic products that are gonna update, they're only gonna show the things that are in stock. So you could run that ad, right? You could start in August, honestly, right? Some people start buying stuff for fall in August. August all the way through November. I don't know, right? You could run it for a long period of time. Even if you can only run it for 60, 90 days, it's still gonna be very profitable for you. So we ran this for a long period of time. We had some of them that did not work, or one of them did not work. We had 8 purchases for $70. Most of them, right? So this ran right here, $240 and then $281 for $20 and $20.39, pretty much the exact same. Now, the reason we did this is a little bit insight. This video originally, let's see here, did really well. This actually shot down in Dallas, Texas. It says, "Hey ladies, fall is finally here. In order to help you look best for the season long, we're introducing the fall collection, right? And at this point, right, we're like, just call it the fall collection. We've upgraded a little bit now. We're doing something more besides fall collection. But what they did was they saw the dynamic ads that were updated down across the bottom there. This ran for a long period of time. And then we're like, the video isn't doing as well anymore. It doesn't catch as much attention. So let's try an image. And then we did an image here, and then it had the same dynamic products there, and the copy up here at the top still worked, still a winning ad, and really, really interesting. So what you want to do here, right, is still make it the broad audience that we had mentioned before. We're not going to go through all of that because it's the same thing, same age, same gender, same location that you've had previously. Make sure to do your research. If you've watched any of our previous videos, research is number one. Do not discount that, right? I'm just getting to the down and dirty with this for you guys because I feel like that's what you want. But what's really gonna help you grow is that research part. So do not miss that, because that is what makes these successful. All right, and then let's see here. We're doing it as a catalog versus a manual upload. I used to do manual uploads a long time ago. Do not do that. Do a catalog connected to your Shopify store. And then instead of a single image or a carousel, do it a collection. Group of items that opens into a full screen mobile experience. And when it says full screen mobile experience, amazing experience. All right, dynamically selected, recommended. That is what we do. So we choose dynamic products to be updated through the product feed. Call to action, make sure that the domain is selected, make sure that the offline events are turned on, make sure the app events are turned on, and that is it for the collection video. It's very straightforward, very simple in that part of things. Now, one thing to note is that if you do not have that data, it will likely go into Learning Limited, and honestly, I do not care, because if it's getting purchases, I do not care. If you need to spend more money, if it's making you money, if you know that these items are gonna work, give it your best budget. But don't just run into a collection ad from the very beginning if you've not had any success with ads, because it is a little bit more of an advanced, quote unquote, advanced type of strategy to continue to grow and to continue to run long term. So now that you know the types of ads to run for your business, let's go a little deeper into the ads and start to build them from scratch. So that is where this video comes in. Make sure you go watch this one right here next. All right, y'all, that is it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.